Welcome on in to BKL Nightly. It is a full house on a Monday. I'm Thad Brown with Caleb Carr and Rachel Leiber. Day after the Bills. Incredible 35-31 comeback win over the Patriots. We've got a lot to talk about. Josh Allen, MVP, who is right about what happened yesterday in terms of was it good? Was it bad for the Bills? Do you stick with that more? We'll talk about all kinds of fun things today. We start, though, with injuries because there were a couple of notable items on that list for the Bills. We'll start with Matt Prater, who has a quad injury. Sean McDermott said he is week to week. He will not kick this week. He is already out. The Bills said that they will have to locate a kicker in-house somehow. In addition, Jordan Phillips has an ankle injury. He will not play on Sunday as well. So the Bills, unusual for Sean McDermott to say right away on Monday, yep, this player will or will not be playing. But there are two of them for the Bills. So, guys, let's talk about this. Of the two here, which one, Caleb, are you looking at as more of an impact, whether it be this Sunday against the Browns or if one of these players is going to miss a lot more time?
Probably Jordan Phillips. We've talked so much this season just about the lack of options at the defensive line. So many guys going down, so many guys just not playing up to their potential or whatever it may be. It's been a very thin defensive line group. We've had TJ Sanders playing on the edge. Like that just shows you what it's been. What for this week specifically, definitely D-line, but even in general, I feel like it might be easier to find a manageable kicker than it is to find extra D-line, like reliable D-line depth. Like it might be easier to find a kicker. I know that's kickers are still tough to find, like good kickers, but even just one that can be might be a little bit easier to find a replacement for that if Prater is out long term.
I think you might be optimistic about the stable of kickers available. I was stunned.
I think
Bills
I am too.
Located Matt Prater, and
I think I am too. But I'm also not very optimistic about the number of D-line options out there, because if there were options, I think the Bills would have already gotten them, or you would hope at least.
They would have needed him because they would have had so many D-line injuries this year. They would have found that guy. Rachel?
I agree with everything you said. I do think the Bills D-line can't afford to have somebody out, and it may be easier to find another kicker. But I do think Prater has been, like you said, that it is kind of harder sometimes to find a reliable kicker. And I do think he has been reliable. And although the Bills, haven't had these clutch moments from him as of late, I do think maybe him down the stretch, if we need these clutch moments, I feel like Prater might be a bigger hit. But like I said, this weekend, I don't think it's that big of a deal as far as kicking goes for this game in particular.
Look, this game, we kind of joke they could have Ray Davis kicking. They'd probably be okay. Yeah. My answer to this is very simply, who is the kicker? Kind of to your point about can you find a kicker? If and I don't know who even would be available or what the choice would be. It's probably not going to be someone great, because at this point there are 32 guys who are employed, or 31, along with a number who are also injured. So you're looking at the 40th, 45th best kicker available. So, and I'm also with you. I'm not worried about if Browns Bills comes down to a kick, then the Bills have more problems than who the kicker is.
Yeah.
That being said, if it's going to be a longer term thing, and we don't know, this could be something that happens, goes into the playoffs. To me, the kicker is Prater is the bigger deal, because of the two, and Jordan Phillips has been a good player this year, Prater's been the better player. He's been more consistent. He's been really an upper level kicker, maybe not the best in the league, but someone who's been pretty dependable. Mm-hmm. So losing that guy now, when you've already cycled through a couple of them, to me is a bigger loss. In terms of the D-line depth, remember when the Bills wanted to add Darius Slay, the thought was, who would they cut for him? And there was some debate about, well, you could probably cut Fedarian Mathis because you have 5 other defensive tackles. Well, maybe that doesn't make a lot of sense because, like you said, TJ Sanders is playing DN. Regardless, the Bills have guys who can play D-line. Maybe not great guys, but guys. You could move TJ Sanders back to tackle in favor of Jordan Phillips and then bring up Morgan Fox. You could bring up Andre Jones, who got a paycheck last week into the Patriots games. There are guys available to play D-line. But even to that point, and I want to bring this up too, Jordan Phillips has been good. I've been surprised how good he's been. He's been active. He's been helpful. Not great, but for a guy who was nowhere as of week 1 to be a contributor on this D-line, I've been very surprised by it. So both these injuries, if you had told me the first week of training camp that we'd be lamenting Matt Prater and Jordan Phillips not being available, I would have told you you're nuts. But that's where we are. Both these guys have been pretty decent players this year. All right, let's move on to the Bills game from yesterday against the Patriots. Incredible comeback. 35-31. They're down 21-0. The story has been discussed a lot to this point. One guy I wanted you both to hear from here, who had an interesting perspective that I wanted to kind of talk about, was Khalil Shakir after the game. He was very confident with how the Bills addressed being down 21-0 and almost chill about it. So let's show you what Shakir had to say, and we'll talk about it after this.
It's a great feeling to just know that we're not out of it. And it's kind of hard to explain. Like, you're just on the sideline and you just feel that energy. Everyone kind of gets a little, I talked about it, I think last week. Shaq spoke to the team about, having a dogo mentality, dog mentality. And I think since then, everybody's just kind of like, that's in the back of our heads. So like when we're on the sideline, it's no matter what the score is, we're gonna keep throwing blows.
So first of all, dogo mentality, I had to look this up. It's a breed of dog. Actually, that's the actual name of the breed. And apparently it's the type of dog where around family, super nice, very friendly, will let you rub his belly and everything. But if danger's around, that thing turns rabid and will kill whatever. So that's what dogo mentality means. The question from this, though, is, so the Bills are getting, it seems, exceedingly confident trailing big in games. And they should. They've come back 3 times now from double-digit deficits. Is it a worry, Rachel, that the Bills feel so good being down so many points? Because to come back 3 times from being down 10+, you got to get down by 10+.
Yeah. This is tough because I feel like it's always a good thing to have the mentality of, okay, we're down, but we can come back. I mean, I think that's a good trait to have, but getting comfortable being down, just like you said, isn't something you want teams to be comfortable with, because that just means they have been in these situations before. And like we talked about kind of before this, how long can they ride out that being down? So I think it's a good thing. And I guess maybe that's just something he's saying, and with, the cameras in his face and they had this crazy comeback, and that's just kind of, the talk that goes on. But I don't think it's a bad thing, but I do think being comfortable in that position and being behind isn't inherently good, if that makes sense.
Don't discount exactly what you brought up there, that sometimes guys just say things on camera because there's a camera there and you can't not say, I don't know the answer to that.
Doggo or whatever.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, clearly that's in his head.
That did make sense though.
But it's not like Family Feud where you can be like, pass. You can't just say that. So he's got to say something. There's definitely a part of it to that. But Caleb, I think the reason that we bring this up is not only they come back from 3 double-digit deficits, but they were down 10 points to the Dolphins and didn't come back. They were down 10 points to the Falcons and didn't come back. I think I'm missing one here. The Texans, they were down. They were never down 10 in that game, actually. That one was close throughout. Regardless, when as the Bills are proving, just getting down and having the ability to come back doesn't mean you're going to come back, even if you're facing a team like the Atlanta Falcons, who have gone nowhere fast this year.
Yeah. If you want to hear me rant about how much I didn't like that first half and how bad it was, you can listen to yesterday's post game, because I went on about it for a while. But exactly what you said and exactly what Rachel said, there's a difference between having confidence that you can come back, and this team should have confidence that they can come back. If it's an AFC Championship game and you're down 13-3 at halftime, you should have confidence that you can come back. You have Josh Allen, you have a good defense, you have some decent coaches that have proved that they can change a game plan and adjust it very well into halftime. You should have the confidence, but you should never be comfortable being there. Like, this shouldn't be a thing where you're like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. No, these type of situations they're not something that it's unique that the Bills have been able to dig themselves out of this hole this often, and to do it 2 weeks in a row is incredibly unique. It's impressive, but it's also like a little kind of concerning unique, where it's like, why are you continuing to find yourselves in these situations? So I think just because this is one of those where just because it's a win and just because it was a good win doesn't mean there are still lots of question marks, especially with what happened in the first half.
I do wonder about, first of all, I do think having confidence that you can come back is a great thing. Like, the answer to this question is yes, it's good, bottom line. But I do wonder if, not necessarily because of that, but because who this team is, to where they say that we treat every game the same. I can't imagine this team gets up for week 7 anymore. I just can't, because of how many times they go into deep into January, big games. Then when you're playing 4-4 Carolina with Andy Dalton, especially in the middle of the season, how do you get jacked up for that game? And even now, this one they should have been up for, but I wonder if there's enough fire for the regular season for this game to have them ready to go for week 1. And the only reason I ask that is because how many times this year have we talked about a bad start, especially for the defense? So although it's good that they have confidence and a belief, I wonder why they continue to need to use it. Not so much is it because of the confidence? I don't think that. But why do we have to keep having this conversation? Why do we have to keep putting this team in this situation? Speaking of the defense, there's a question to Bobby Babich on Monday about whether or not this team still has confidence in the defense, or the defense has confidence in itself, because they've allowed 30 or more 5 times this year. Now, when they've allowed more than 30, they're actually 4-0, which is crazy. And Babich said, look, number one, it is disgusting we're giving up so many points. But we talk about confidence, the defense still has some as well.
No one panicked. No one did anything, or, no one's freaking out in the locker room. It was like, hey, this is what we need to do. Let's go out and win this game. And, I would call that confidence. I mean, no matter what hole, that's the one thing with this defense. No matter what hole we put ourselves in, we're able to pull ourselves out. But we need to make sure that we're not putting ourselves in that hole.
Yeah, the show has a theme to it. Don't get down by a lot, even if we happen to win the game anyway. The thing I want to address with what Bobby has to say in those statements is, Rachel, is this defense good enough to take this team where it needs to go? They were good enough to win this game. They were good enough to win the last game. They've been good enough 4 times this year when they've allowed 40 or more points. The way things are going, it probably won't be the last time. So is this defense good enough for the Bills?
I think on their own, no, because like you said, they're giving up 31 plus points. And even though the Bills have won, I don't think that's because of the defense necessarily. I think that's because of the offense. Obviously you have to score more points than the other team to win, and that's what the offense is doing. But I don't know. This defense, the first half of that game, they ran all over. And while the passing defense, I think it is stronger statistically. It just isn't good enough, I think, to take them the distance. And I think especially the reason right now where it feels like they maybe are good enough, at least to me, is because they have Josh Allen on the other side to pick up their slack. So is it good enough to get them by for the rest of the season? They could win out and maybe, do something in the playoffs. Yes, but I don't think long-term this is a solid defense that I would confidently say can win football games when the offense maybe isn't in the equation.
Real quick, I'll let you guys both guess. Where do the Bills rank total passing yards allowed? And now that we're past buys, I can use total yards, not yards per game. 1 through 32, where the Bills rank total passing yards allowed this year.
Total?
Yeah.
Aren't they pretty well?
Yeah.
Doing pretty well. 2?
2 is correct. You don't get the guess.
I was gonna say 2 or 3.
Okay, yeah.
Mainly because teams go into those games saying we're gonna run all over you instead.
Yes, for sure. And actually, the Bills have only allowed 370 more passing yards than rushing yards all year. They're third to last in rushing yards. So I do think the pass defense might be a little better than we give it credit for because of those numbers. But I'm generally kind of with you on that. Caleb, go ahead.
I think this defense. Now, I think no matter how good your defense is, even if you have, what is considered the best defense in the league that year, I think you're always obviously looking for ways to improve. So I think the defense should continue to look for ways to improve. But I think if it just stays where it is right now, I think they could potentially be okay for the rest of the season and could potentially at least make it to a Super Bowl. And I don't say that because I think the defense is good. I say that because I look at the rest of the teams, like especially in the AFC playoffs right now, there's not an offense that sticks out to me as one that's going to dominate. Now, obviously, if you go out there and you play like you did in the first half against the Patriots, then any offense in the NFL is going to dominate you. But if you play, even if it's just a mix of the first half and the second half, you're probably fine. Like, you're probably only letting them put up 20 points around there. You're probably not letting them get to 30. And like you said, with Josh Allen on the other side, it obviously makes you boost up your confidence in it a little bit. Any other given year, like a year where you've got the Bengals and the Chiefs, a year where like the Dolphins offense is clicking, where the Ravens are going, Like a year where you have really high quality offenses in the AFC picture, then I would say no. But this year's a little bit special.
I think it's a good point. I think the place I land with this is that when the defense is scoring touchdowns, also that helps. Even if they're giving up
I think
touchdowns,
that always
when they
helps.
can score, yeah. Or when you think about the games, the 4 games they've won this year, and they've allowed 40 or more, they've had defensive points, they've had deflected touchdowns in the Baltimore game. They've had Josh Allen scoring 6 touchdowns in the Tampa game. They had 5 TD drives in a row in this New England game. You had something wild happening that allowed you to get away with giving up 30 plus. So sure, when that's happening, I think the defense can be good enough. The thing that I'm most encouraged about is that I think this defense has realized they kind of have to live with the big plays they're going to allow. Like they're going to give up stuff, lots of stuff, probably. But if they can hit a few, if they can get a couple stops like they did in this Patriots game, we talked about the Bengals game as 2 stops might be enough because the Cincinnati defense was that bad. Well, the Bills offense might be good enough to where 3 stops wins you every game, even in the playoffs.
Let's be a little more specific. It's not the Bills' offense, it's Josh Allen.
Well, look, the James Cook offensive line part is a big part of it.
It is.
And it has to be because we've talked too about this offense won't function like that if it's just Josh Allen dragging the team around all day long. So there has to be more than just that. Next topic, Matt Milano, who had a big game against the Patriots, 2 sacks, team high 10 tackles. It's been a while since the veteran has had a big game, and there were plenty of people who wanted to talk about how big it was after the game on Sunday.
He was vibing out there. You probably felt him up in the box. I mean, 2 sacks. Probably made those 2 calls, and Matt cashed in. So it was good to see. He's been working his tail off to get himself back to where he was today.
I think he's just been getting better and better each week this season. And yeah, today was just, today was it. And Matt was flying around, making plays, making hits, put big hits on people. Guys are flying around and guys are playing hard. That's the bare minimum, and that can help us give us a chance.
All right, with Matt Milano, how excited, Caleb, are we about this game? A linebacker group that's been middling at best. Shaq Thompson's had a good year, not a great game against New England, but it's not been a good year for Terrell Bernard or Matt Milano. How much does this game boost your opinion of where Milano's at and where this linebacking crew can be?
I don't know how much it changes my overall opinion on Matt Milano, but I think it does give me a little bit more confidence in the linebacker group just to see that like it is possible that somebody other than Shaq Thompson can make a play in the line, because we haven't seen we haven't really seen any big plays from any of the linebackers. Shaq Thompson, I continue to kind of describe him as just consistent and reliable. But Matt Milano hasn't really been that. He hasn't really been a big play guy. But to see that like it is possible for somebody if they need to step up to do it, and Matt Milano needed to step up. Joey Bosa wasn't doing a ton. Christian Benford wasn't in there. The Bills needed a guy to step up and make a play, and Matt Milano did. So I think just the fact knowing that somebody in that linebacker room is able to potentially do it if they need it, I guess boosts my confidence in him a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, this is, like you said, this has been a linebacker room that Matt Milano's been hurt, Terrell Bernard's been hurt, and Shaq Thompson, who I don't know if we thought at the beginning of the season would be the guy we've been talking about each week. But I think it's a good sign that basically essentially what you said, just that they are capable and there is someone there that can step up when your D-line isn't completely healthy, or when Christian Benford isn't out there. Even if it's not in the same position group, you still have somebody capable. And Matt Milano, we saw last year, he is capable. And they've always said like he's a quiet person, both on and off the field. And even though we didn't maybe notice as much production as he had yesterday, like he did, I think, change the game essentially for the defense, even if it wasn't as noticeable as, making those big plays. It
was good to see Milano contribute. I'm not really thinking anything different about where he's at. The 2 sacks he had were blitzes that took him a while to get there. I thought there were more coverage sacks than Milano plays. Milano was okay. Someone's going to tackle the quarterback, even if the coverage is good. So we'll give him credit for that. The 10 tackles, too, I went back through the play-by-play. Most of them were in the first half when the defense was getting bludgeoned. So there wasn't a whole lot of great stuff from Milano anyway. Look, it's better than them not making plays, which has been the story for the linebackers mostly this year. But this, to me, felt like a guy who was in the right place at the right time a couple different times in a game where everybody's looking for a hero, and Milano got one. Still good, better than not making the plays, but I'm not going to change the overall outlook where the linebackers are at. Time for the BKL Nightly Roundtable. Topic number 1 tonight. This is a good one. People have been talking about this quite a bit. How close is Josh Allen, guys, Rachel, to being the MVP? After that game yesterday, I saw MVP posts, people talking about it. I do think Allen is the best quarterback in football right now, which in theory should make you the MVP, but it don't work that way. Rachel, where do you think the MVP race lies right this second?
I mean, I think he's getting up there. I think certainly yesterday was a case, or proving his case as to why he should be MVP. I mean, 2 weeks ago, it wasn't looking like, 2 weeks ago, the comeback maybe a little bit, but middle of the season, Josh Allen's not even in the race. But I mean, I think he's getting back up there. It was like Drake May and Stafford are kind of the two favorites. Now it's like, okay, well, Drake May didn't beat Josh Allen, and Josh Allen had a great game, at least second half wise, against Drake May. I mean, I think it's possible. Am I going to sit here and say he's 100% deserves it after yesterday's performance? No, but I think he's certainly in the race.
I will say Drake May is out after that game yesterday. You can't have that game in that spot, and be in. I don't care what you do from here.
I think he's right there. I think I'm obviously not willing to give it to him yet. I'm not that high on it, but I think he's right there. I think the true turning point or the true test, I think what will determine whether or not he gets it will be the Eagles game. I believe that's at home, correct, in 2 weeks. I think that'll be. I think if he goes out there and he dominates, because they have a pretty good defense. If he goes out there and he dominates and the Bills win that game, I see no reason why you don't give it to him. Stafford and May have better. Like when you look at stats, Stafford and May have better passing stats. I think they have more passing yards, potentially more passing touchdowns. I know Stafford definitely does. May might be like 1 or 2 short, but Allen blows him out of the water with what he's doing with his legs and what he's doing in just big moments. I mean, Matthew Stafford's good, but we haven't seen Matthew Stafford pull off anything like Allen's pulled off 3 times this year already. And also Stafford's got like an all-star team in his receiving core. So you kind of got to think about that a little bit. But I think Allen's right there, and I think the Eagles game will be the true determiner.
I think Allen's got a lot of ground to make up on Matt Stafford.
Really?
I think Matt Stafford's got this almost locked up. Not locked up. He's got to be the 1 seed in the NFC.
Yeah.
But yes, he has an all-star cast around him. He's also playing a ridiculous schedule. He's got the Seahawks twice. He's got the Niners twice. He's played the Jags. He's played the Texans. He's played the Eagles. He played Detroit, who won't even be a playoff team. Detroit might be a top 4 team on Buffalo's schedule. And I don't know if he cracks a top 7 for the Rams schedule. So the numbers are a lot different passing-wise, too. Allen's 29-10. I just had it up here. 29-10 as a quarterback in terms of touchdown interception. The yards are significantly different. Stafford's 37-5. So, yes, the rushing numbers kind of equalize the passing numbers. I will agree with that. Mm-hmm. But Stafford is winning more on a tougher schedule in a tougher division, and that to me puts him over the top, unless that changes. If Josh Allen's a division champ and maybe a 1 or a 2 seed, different discussion. If Josh Allen hammers the Eagles for 40 points, different discussion. Mm-hmm. As we sit here right now, Stafford, I think, would get every first place vote.
All right.
That's what I think. All right, question number 2. So the Bills obviously had a good and a bad half. So of the 2, which one sticks with you guys more? Caleb, you can go first with that.
I think the bad half sticks with me a little bit more. I mean, we know how good the team can be. Like, they looked very, very good in the second half, and we know that they have that potential to be that good. Outside of maybe like the Falcons in week 6, I don't think we've seen Buffalo get dominated on both sides of the ball the way that they did in the first half of that Patriots game. Like, the offense could not move at all, and the defense was just getting walked on, at least for a full half. I mean, there were points of like the Dolphins loss where they looked like that. There were points of the first Patriots loss where they looked like that, but that was like for a couple drives, and then Josh Allen would make a play or the defense would make a play. Like, they would make up for it somewhere. But for a consistent full half, even though they got the touchdown at the end, for that consistent full half, I don't think we've seen them look that bad since maybe that Falcons game. And that concerns me of like the potential for that is still there. I thought that the potential was maybe gone as we got later in the year, but it's obviously still there.
It's a fair point. It was 6-3 at the half, and then the first New England game. The Miami game was Miami was a little out of hand, 16-0 at the half, but they had a chance late. So I think you had a good point there. Rachel?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the worst first half sticks out to me because it's just not sustainable. I mean, and we've talked about this, just how do you you can't consistently put up that bad of a first half. Like you said, this might be, if not like the worst first half that they had on both sides of the ball. I mean, they got outgained 209 yards in the first half. I mean, just even, you normally were sitting here saying the defense had a really bad first half, but like Josh Allen and they couldn't do anything either. So that sticks out to me because I don't think it's sustainable, and I don't think you can make up for it in the second half all you want, but why did that first half happen in the first place? I think those issues are more glaring than Josh Allen was a superhero like he normally is in the second half.
I don't think either answer is wrong. I think you guys got some good points. The good side is the one sticking with me because, like we said before, this one was not fluky. This one was not, there was a turnover, but it was really a punt. There wasn't any deflected stuff. The refs were fine. I know New England fans don't think so. The refs were fine in this game. The Bills got a couple calls, but it wasn't anything that was ridiculous. They just dominated this team, a good team. Maybe not a great team, but a good team on the road in a game where you had to have it. And it also wasn't just Josh Allen being a superhero. There was some James Cook. There was tight end contributions. The defense covered well. There was some pressure. So the fact that the Bills have this in the bag, that the whole team can play like this even for 25 plus minutes, I remember that more than the bad, even if you guys are definitely not wrong about the bad. Every Monday we do confidence up, concern up, picking a player that we like a little better, a little worse. Rach, you can go first with the confidence up selection for Bills and Patriots.
Do we normally do confidence up first?
We do it today.
We're being positive.
Yes.
We're doing
I was
positive.
ready. I was ready for my concern.
We can do that if you want. Ready?
We'll go
Okay.
confidence. We'll
All
start
right.
with the good. We'll start with the good. Even though the Bills did not start with the good, but we'll start with the good. My confidence up goes to not a specific person, but just the tight end room as a whole, their ability to be the primary pass catchers on this team, because they had, I think, 80 receiving yards as a room. Receivers had 81. So just for me, I've kind of just given up on the hope that any receiver is going to step up and make a difference this year. But the tight ends at least are consistent. I mean, Dawson Knox had 2 touchdowns yesterday. I think he only had like 3 catches. But I mean, still, I'm confident in the fact that even when it feels like the Bills can't catch a football or there's nobody out there that Josh Allen can throw to, I still have confidence in the tight end room to at least be somewhat consistent.
I definitely agree with that. I think my top confidence up goes to Dawson Knox, but I do also want to mention Ray Davis in the return game. I think he's up. His contribution is up there for one of the main reasons that the Bills were able to pull off this comeback. He set Buffalo up in great field position multiple times. There's a big difference between having to go 40 yards to score a touchdown and having to go 50 yards to be in field goal range. There's a huge difference between those two. So I really think that his kind of big plays really helps kind of spark something in the Buffalo Bills offense.
I'm going to continue the connection we seem to have between our choices here. And my guy is Chris Tabor, the special teams coach. And as much as that, we had last week, I think I had Dawson Knox. So we're all on the same page the last 2 games. I was rewatching the kick returns for Ray Davis. They were exquisitely blocked. I mean, I think all 3 of us would have had 50 yards running those back. They were great. And they weren't exactly the same way either. So the fact that Chris Tabor is finding a way to create some space and create some impact out of that kick return group. Ray Davis is in it too, but I was very impressed with the coaching from that. Getting a little late here, so we'll keep the concern up tight. Caleb, you can go first.
I think my concern up is going to be the run defense. Concern up only because the past 3 games they averaged, they were only allowing 76 yards per game. Now
Before this game.
Now those were against not great defenses. I get that, but they let up 246. So you were starting to think maybe they were getting a little bit better, and this game just showed you no, they're not.
246 is a big number.
It's
Rachel?
very bad.
I put the exact same thing in my notes. I mean, Travion Henderson, they made this a rookie. He's having a good year, but they made him look like
Derrick Henry?
Yes. I mean, his touchdowns were 52 and 65 yards. I mean,
and one they had stopped, too.
One they had stopped, he bounces off of everybody and just goes the other way. I mean, so for me, same thing. 250, 60 or whatever it is yards is a big concern compared to what they've been doing. So same thing for me.
Similar vibe. I'm going to go with Shaq Thompson, who I think had one of his probably first down game of the year, missed a couple tackles. Run defense as a whole was very not impactful. For a linebacker group that hasn't had much go right, all year been like, hey, at least Shaq Thompson's been good. And then in this game, I'm like, oh, wow, even Shaq Thompson is a guy that I can't really depend on a ton. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of BKL Nightly. It'll be me and Carl Jones tomorrow on the BKL Nightly Let's Talk Ball show, breaking down the X's and the O's. For Rachel Labert and Caleb Carr, I'm Thad Brown. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you again right here tomorrow night.
Get the Rochester First streaming app today for everything you love from News 8 on demand, plus exclusive shows you won't see anywhere else. Search ROC and download for free on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV.